Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering the Decent Christian Talk podcast. Enjoy.
Decent Christian Talk episode 39. I'm Gabe Jones, and this podcast, of course, is for the fans, by the fans. Because, hey, I'm just, all I am is just a fan. And that's what this show's about. It's a bunch of fans that are talking about music with each other and with different kinds of artists. And we've had a lot of fun with this podcast so far. I can't believe there's almost 40 episodes already. But just really thank you guys for joining us all those times, and we just got a great show for you today. We got a double interview, one with this is kind of a heavier podcast, literally, because it is with Rival Choir and with War of Ages, two really heavy bands, really at the top of their game. We got to talk with them last year at Creation Festival, and we're going to finally get to share those interviews with you. So that's exciting. They are, one of them's kind of local to our area, but it's always exciting to hear from those up-and-coming heavier artists, because that's a genre that just continues to grow. But before we head into that, we got our Decent Christian Talk flashback of the week, and since this is a heavier episode, we went with a heavier flashback, and it is one of the most successful albums in Christian music history. It is P.O.D's Satellite.
The Decent Christian Talk podcast flashback.
In 1992, in San Diego, California, Marcos Curiel and Wov Bernardo formed P.O.D. Later on, Sonny Sandoval and Trey Davis would join the band. Between 1994 and 1997, the band released 3 records under Rescue Records: Snuff the Punk, Brown, and Payable on Death Live. Following a very lucrative offer from Essential Records, the band signed with Atlantic Records. The band would release their debut on Atlantic Records in 1999, entitled The Fundamental Elements of Southtown. This album saw great successes, including being certified platinum, as well as heavy play on MTV's video rotation. On September 11th, 2001, P.O.D. would release their most successful record in their history, Satellite. This record debuted at number 6 on the Billboard charts and spent 5 weeks in the top 10. The album would end up being certified triple platinum, selling over 3 million records. Satellite would garner many MTV, VMA, Grammy, and Dove Award nominations. This album saw many successful tracks such as the title track Satellite, Boom, Youth of the Nation, and Alive. Due in part to the tragedies of 9/11, Alive became the anthem of people around the United States. This song resided in the top 5 of the Billboard rock charts for a considerable time. The video for Alive saw considerable airplay on TRL and enjoyed over 10 days at number 1. The band also played the song on The Tonight Show less than a month after the attacks. P.O.D. would also be the featured artist on an episode of Saturday Night Live in 2002 and Dave Letterman.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome P.O.D.
Last day of the rest of my life. Wish I would've known, cause I didn't kiss my mama goodbye. Didn't tell her that I loved her, how much I cared. Thank my boss for all the talks and all the wisdom he shared. Where I just did what I always do. Every day the same routine before I skate off to school. Who knew this day?
The band continues to be active and has released 5 full-length records and 1 acoustic record since Satellite. The acoustic offering, entitled SoCal Sessions, would feature acoustic takes of both Alive and Youth of the Nation. That was our flashback with P.O.D.'s Satellite. This is probably one of the more sentimental selections that we've done so far. We've been doing these flashbacks since the beginning of 2017. We've done quite a number of ones that are sentimental to me, but this one really rings home for me. I remember I was a huge fan of P.O.D. After the Fundamental Elements of Southtown record. That album for me was pretty much what got me into hard music. I was in middle school, I think, when that came out, and up until that point, hard music for me was not something that I knew that much about. Simply because of the radio stations in my area just didn't play it, and I didn't know where to find it. Fundamental Elements of Southtown really kind of brought that sound with me. I mean, it had some elements of reggae and some hip hop that I was already familiar with, but there was some elements of screaming and just really hard guitar tracks that just really was really new to me. And then the Satellite release came, and what's unique about this, as I mentioned in the flashback, this was released on 9/11. I remember making plans with my mom. I was a sophomore in high school. I remember this day very vividly, as a lot of people do. We made plans that day. People in the rural areas, such as myself, unfortunately, we didn't have a very good selection of music stores in our area. A lot of us would go to Walmart to get our music, and that was the case for me. You can imagine what Walmart looked like after that day had transpired. We headed there after school let out on that day, and people were preparing for the worst. Anybody that lives in the north knows what grocery stores look like after a snowstorm, a bad snowstorm is predicted. This was another level to that, and it was pretty frightening for me. And I remember closing my eyes, putting that CD in, and listening to Alive, which was already released as a hit up until that point, but I just remember very vividly putting that in and listening to that for the first time on that CD. And I remember tears coming to my eyes because nobody really knew what was happening in the world that day. And as I mentioned before, that just really became an anthem for a lot of people that were my age. It was on MTV's TRL for a long time. It was number one for over 10 days. It was all over the radio. That song just really was an anthem for a lot of people. And wow, that album, I mean, that song is just really just a glimpse of what that album is. That album from front to back is really good. It's got the reggae, it's got the hip hop, it's got the rock and roll. It's a really great album, and it's one of my favorites of all time. All right, so we're going to head into our interview. We got 2 interviews, like I mentioned before, with Rival Choir and War of Ages. We got to talk with them at Creation Fest last year, and we're just going to head right into that. We're going to start out with the Rival Choir interview, and then we're going to go right into the War of Ages interview. So without further ado, here we go.
All right, hit that horn, babe. Let's dance.
This is nothing new, I said it before. All my demons found an open door. I thought that I could write them away. Just make us better.
Is Texas the best part of the country?
If you ask me, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
But I was born there, born and raised. So.
Well, everyone I talked to in Texas said it was bigger and better.
Well, it's just got like a little bit of everything, except for beaches.
Yeah.
Unless you go far south.
If you want to go to Galveston, though, that's not really.
It's not that great.
It's not very impressive.
Because I grew up on the East Coast.
South
so.
Padre, maybe.
Maybe.
But that's like a trek from where we're from.
What's your favorite historical landmark in Texas?
The Alamo.
Well, when I was in Dallas, I wanted to go see the grassy knoll where JFK was.
Oh
assassinated,
yeah.
And I never got a chance because I wasn't there for job training. So
I guess that's kind of more casual for us.
Yeah, we don't
like
drive by that
or not.
frequently.
No.
But like it's just like closer to where we are, so it's like, oh yeah, that's where
that makes sense. Like where I'm from, that's where the pepperoni roll was invented. So I'm like, oh, there's pepperoni rolls everywhere.
Yes, for something.
Yeah.
So how's it been since you guys kicked it off as Rival Choir?
It's been pretty sweet, honestly. The response was a lot cooler than we were expecting. I mean, not that we were expecting like a backlash or anything like that, but we definitely expected a lot more naysaying than we got. So
we were
that was
really nervous about it. Like,
yeah,
really nervous.
Do you still have a following from being Mouth of the South, or were they just like, where'd they
absolutely.
go?
Yeah, more so than we thought. Yeah,
we probably gained a few, like gained some attention, and then also maybe like lost some people's interest. But
we gained more than we lost.
I would say so for sure.
I would call it a success.
It went very smoothly compared to what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Who are you guys on tour with right now?
A band called Ghost Key. They're from, one of them lives in Columbus, but the rest of them are from Illinois, Peoria, Illinois. I don't know, Peoria, something like that. They're not actually playing this fest, but they're helping us just route between fests and stuff. So, and they're some of our great friends, so it's cool to be able to play shows with them.
Sure. It's just one big hangout.
Yeah.
Do you guys like the music festival scene?
Outdoor
shows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. That's funny. The last, I guess, 2 years ago when we played this fest, it was just after the huge storm, and it was really hot outside, but it was also really like wet, and they had to put like hay all over the ground, and it was kind of miserable. But other than that, like, you can't complain about playing the fest with a bunch of people and hanging out and meeting new people all day. So
yeah, and you get treated really, really well.
Yeah, people treat you way nicer than you deserve to be treated.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
How long are you guys going to be here? Are you going to go see any other bands playing tonight?
I'd like to. I know Phineas is playing our stage tonight, and there's some of our pretty decent friends as well, so we'll probably be hanging out with them and sticking around watching their set. But I don't know. I think Red. Yeah, War of Ages. Like War of Ages. We're both not based down. We go way back. They actually took. I was on. My first tour was with War of Ages, so they've always kind of.
And we did that tour with Phineas and War of Ages too.
Yeah.
So it's like this lineup is the exact lineup of that tour for like
very
the ending of it. Yeah.
But I think we're definitely gonna try to like bounce around and catch different bands and go check out all the different booths and stuff for sure. It's one of the funnest parts about it.
Yeah, it's fun just to walk around. Honestly, it's like to not be stuck at a venue. It's really nice to just kind of be able to, like, for an entire day, hang out and get fed and enjoy the nice weather today. Usually it's hot and you get sunburned, but this is really cool.
Where do you guys go from here?
Tomorrow we go to Columbus, Ohio, And after that, we're going to a festival, arguably one of our favorite festivals is Audio Feed Fest. And we're going to be there for 3 days, actually. I think we play on the Friday, and then we're going to stay and just hang out, because we have so many friends there until probably Sunday, and then head out. And then after Sunday, I'm not sure where we're going.
Yeah, we kind of were just like looking towards Audio Feed, and then after that, like, whatever happens.
Yeah, we told our booking agent, we're like, yeah, we need like all 3 of those days off so we can hang out there. And he's like, are you sure? And we're like, yes. He's like, okay.
It's like a vacation.
Yeah, it's just good to hang out for a few days.
What's the hardest part about being on tour?
Being away from family and loved ones.
Yeah, no doubt. Everyone gets homesick, no matter how much you love touring. Like, everyone has a certain thing that they miss, and everyone deals with it differently. I mean, being in a van with 4 or 5 other dudes is not easy by any means.
It's not
but
fun.
like,
I used to do that.
Oh yeah, we're all really great friends. Like, even when we're home, we hang out with one another. So it's not like we're just like, oh, hey, what's up? How you been? It's like we just like kind of pick up where we left off, and there's not really any.
What was the biggest surprise from being on tour that you guys like maybe didn't expect? Maybe like the business aspect or the people, or I don't know.
I think learning how to keep yourself busy during long drives for me, just because like I have a really short attention span, so like I'll either zone out on something or I'll be like just sitting there like I don't know what to do with myself right now.
Yeah, the drives for sure. Actually, I drove last night from Bristol, Virginia to here, and it was a good like 7-8 hours. And I would never drive that much. Like I don't know, and I just made the drive. Woke up and it was like 9:30.
You woke up after the drive? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I woke up and I was here. Great. Over here. No, but I got here. It was 9:30. I was like, why did I do that? We could have got here. Could have been like Phineas and showed up a few hours late.
Oh yeah. You hear that, Phineas? Rolling Stones. Here's some shade.
What is your most memorable concert moment?
For me, it'd be a toss-up between either Face Down Fest or my first Face Down Fest, probably, which was at a venue called the Stronghold in Pomona, California, or Audio Feed last year. Because our set at Audio Feed last year was incredible.
That whole 3 days.
Yeah.
Sick.
And just there's like a really tight sense of community at Audio Feed. Not saying that there isn't like here at any other Christian festival, but Audio Feed.
It was basically what Cornerstone was.
Yeah, it's like the new Cornerstone, and we like I've met so many people I call like really good friends. I met them at Audio Feed last year, and so coming around this time of year, it's like an anniversary for however many people I met. So and then our singer Josiah did a free T-shirt contest to whoever did the most stage dives during our set, and none of us had like any idea he was going to do that. And so as soon as he said that, like the next song, like Dop Kids just started piling on stage, and we're all just looking around, and we're like, "This is crazy." It was so
bad idea.
Oh yeah, it was insane. But
Josiah's a pretty solid name. I like it.
It's actually funny you say that because there's so many people that call him like Josiah, or
Joshua, Jeremiah,
yeah,
Jerusalem. I get all the different ones.
Jerusalem.
I've gotten them.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, well, I know.
Like,
I've been called Sebastian at one point. They're just like, I was like, that's just as many syllables. Yeah,
that's nuts.
I don't understand it either. But
jeez.
What is something you guys have always wanted to do during a concert but haven't attempted or done it yet?
Except invite the whole crowd on stage at once.
Crowd dive.
Stage diving would be fun, but I don't ever trust it, and I don't want to like mess up my guitar or anything like that in the process.
So you're saying you're scared?
Yes, 100%.
Me, like as a drummer, I guess there's not really much I could do.
And playing a whole set with sunglasses on too.
Yeah, there's been a few times to where like there's a part in a song that's like just like one of my favorite parts.
I played in this hat last night for like a song.
Crazy, and I'll just like throw some really cheesy sunglasses on that are way too small for my face, and they make me look like a fly or like a little bug. And so I'll throw those on just to be goofy sometimes. But
it's like you put Build-A-Bear sunglasses.
Yeah, I think it'd be sick to if there's some break during a song where I could go stage dive and then somehow make it back to my drum kit.
You'd work an acapella part in maybe a candle lighting service.
Maybe we'll all trade instruments for a song someday or something.
That would be pretty interesting.
I don't know if we can pull that off.
I mean, it's hard to. He's a drummer.
I remember I saw Love Hate Hero do that one time.
I've seen several bands do that. They'll like toss each other a guitar or something. You're like, what are you doing?
Well, you can just play a track and pretend. And can you do
Yeah,
air
a lot
guitar?
of bands are doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I hear a lot of bands nowadays are doing that.
Talking to you again, Phineas.
Yeah. Oh man. I guess I think we've had a.
Well,
we'll wrap that up.
Right,
That's fun.
Yeah. Well, actually, hold on. Yeah. We do have a time limit, but they're not in here, so we don't want to stretch our luck. Do you have anything else to talk about? Like anything coming up?
There's things coming up that. Just kidding.
Cell phone. That's not.
Probably
That's,
Phineas, probably.
yeah.
It's actually my grandma.
There's usually there's like we have we're always scrambling for like finding a tour, finding shows to play and stuff. But we actually recently locked something in that's going to be pretty cool that we can't really talk about.
Ooh, well.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm that guy right now.
Where will we find? Well, what's your Twitter? I'm sure we'll find out. Facebook, social media. Get some plugs in there.
Our Twitter is Rival Choir, just at Rival Choir.
Yeah,
And
it's
Instagram
the same
is just
thing.
at Rival Choir. And I think Facebook is Facebook/Rival Choir.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty easy to find, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
There's that, and then I know. What else? We have a music video that's about to come out.
We just shot a music
we just
video.
finished shooting a music video.
what song is that for?
We haven't announced it yet.
Oh,
We're going to announce it.
That guy again.
Man.
We will be announcing it this week.
You gotta hype yourself up, sir.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
that's
yeah.
worse.
This week.
This week, yeah.
Well, I don't know when this is going to air. This week, though, because your music video is coming out.
Yeah, the music video is going to be coming out. We'll probably be releasing it hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Honestly.
Yeah, we actually just got like a rough draft of it
Yeah.
back last night. We all watched it.
Very excited.
Really excited about it. Just did a few minor critique things, and then other than that, we're
Is
excited.
this for an existing song?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a new
it's not a new song.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a song that's already on a record we just put out.
Yeah, so we got that, and then let's see. Yeah,
Just a bunch of secrets, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite supervillain?
Super villain.
Oh man.
Probably either Venom or Carnage.
Okay.
I always go back and forth because Venom's like classic looking, but Carnage is kind of a little bit cooler.
Okay.
Jeez. See, I've never been into like superhero movies.
Well, then what's your favorite
Shrek.
HGTV designer?
Favorite what?
HGTV designer, like home designer.
Holy cow.
I don't know any of them. I just figured.
I was about to say, yeah. That's another one. I'm
Frontier Studio.
losing people's interest with my lack of opinions.
Chris Angel.
Chris Angel?
Yeah.
He's
He
pretty.
designs
he-
stuff,
Mind Freak. His Mind Freak line.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he does all that crazy. He did those pants that float in the air.
Mm-hmm. I think he's on main stage tonight, actually.
I doubt that.
He's gonna appear there. We should just wait for
Yeah.
him.
Magic.
That's the best part about it.
All right, we're here with what's your name?
Leroy from War of Ages.
All right, and where are we, Leroy?
We are at, I believe this is Creation Fest.
You are correct. You win the prize.
All right.
So, how many festivals are you guys doing this summer?
One a month up until September. So I think we have 3 more after this, maybe 4. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're doing, actually 4. 4. We have 4 more after this.
Do you like doing festivals?
Sure. I mean, we like playing shows in general, concerts or whatever you want to call them. We enjoy just, I guess creating a craft and then showing the world what we did. So yeah, I would say we enjoy playing.
You have a chance to play in front of an audience that you might not normally get.
Absolutely. I think with a festival, that's the kind of audience you get. You get a bunch of different genres of music and different styles and whatnot together. It's going to bring all sorts of different people out here. So just in general, I think it's just a good dynamic, and so it's different for sure.
And what's the craziest weather elements you've played in front of?
We've played in front of thunderstorms. We played in almost tornadoes. Just I would say probably the craziest weather we've ever played in was a thunderstorm, and it was actually at a festival, one that's actually close to here in Shippensburg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
where are you guys from?
We're from Erie, Pennsylvania, but we've all since then have got married and had kids and kind of dispersed from Erie, Pennsylvania, but the band is actually from Erie, Pennsylvania.
What did you guys grow up listening to that have helped you influence how you guys sound today?
I would say that's different for everyone, but for me personally, I listen to a lot of old school hardcore like Hatebreed and Run Devil Run and Disciple X. So a lot of old school hardcore is what I listen to, and that's kind of where my roots are from. But the other guys, I'm sure, could say more along the lines of metal bands and whatnot that they've listened to. So yeah, I would say my roots are there.
If you could collaborate with any artist, band in metal or any music today, who would you pick?
Zach from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh yeah,
that would be my go-to.
Aren't they putting out new music soon?
That's what I've heard, but I don't know. I've yet to hear anything, so I never count that unless I hear the actual music itself. So, a lot of people talk.
Okay, what about the worst injury you've ever had during a show?
Worst injury I've ever had would have to be I jumped off of a set list. And no, actually I jumped off a drum riser and went to spin around and realized that it was a lot higher than I thought it was. And so I slid face first into a monitor speaker. I was bleeding a little bit and stuff like that, but I kept rocking. I didn't skip a beat. So,
you guys got music coming out anytime soon, or what's going on?
Yep, we just recorded a new album. I still have yet to do vocals on it, but the music is written. There's still some tinkering that needs to be done with it, but it should be out at the end of this year at some point.
All right. For those that may not know War of Ages, how can they stay in touch with you guys?
Just look up War of Ages. We have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, we have a Instagram, we have all sorts of that. Bandcamp, you can search all those different avenues, and you'll see dates, you'll see all kinds of stuff. So, all
right, thank you, man. Thanks for your time.
No problem, brother.
That was our interview with War of Ages, and right before that was our interview with Rival Choir. I'd like to thank those guys for taking some time out during the busy time in their schedule, and I'm glad we finally got to air those. Those guys are really nice and really love the music that they have released. So we're going to head right into our music news. We've kind of been doing like a weekly Family Force 5 update, and there's really not a whole lot still from them about when this album is going to release. Have no idea what's going on with them, and I guess we're just going to have to continue to wait. There's summer festivals await, and maybe we'll hear some news from them around that time. Kevin Max, right before the DC Talk Cruise, is going to release an EP on July 7th called Serve Somebody. It is a covers EP. He's got a lot of different covers on this EP, including Larry Norman, U2. I think he even does a DC Talk cover, if you could even call it a cover. So that's a really good EP to look out for. He's actually releasing this on a division of Goatee Records, which is, for those of you that know, Toby Mac's label. So that's going to be really cool to check out. Another album that releases around that time is by an artist named Propaganda. He's going to release an album called Crooked on June 30th. Propaganda, this is going to be his third or fourth full-length album. I can't remember. Yeah, it's his fourth. But this is one of my favorite hip-hop artists, and I think this might be one of those records that kind of in a lot of circles is going to be one of the albums of the year. He's on Humble Beast Records, and they've got a lot of stuff coming out this year. Beautiful Eulogy is supposed to release an album. I'm actually going to get to see Propaganda live that week that album releases, so that's going to be exciting to see. I have not seen Propaganda live probably since the last Unashamed tour back in 2011 or so. I mean, it's been a while. That's exciting to see that. Hillsong United just announced that they're releasing their album called Wonder on June 9th. That's coming up really quickly. They released a couple of singles in preparation of that last week, kind of just as a surprise. No hype behind those releases. They just said, hey, we're going to release this, and they just sent it out. And that's kind of how they announced that their album was going to be dropping soon, and that's exciting. Hillsong United is one of the bigger artists in Christian music, and that's for those that are into that genre of music will be definitely excited to hear that. We talked about this a little bit on the last show about how the Labeled podcast by the Tooth and Nail label, done by the guys from Emory, was yet to drop. But little did I know that shortly after I recorded that, their first episode would drop. And their first episode featured a look at the history of the Further Seems Forever band, which honestly, back in the day, was one of my favorite bands, and it was really exciting to go and listen to that and reminisce and kind of learn some things about the band that I didn't know about. So go check that out. They just dropped their second episode. I'm sure by the time this podcast releases, I'm not sure what it's about, but go check it out. The podcast is called Labeled, and it's up there in the top musical podcast on iTunes, so it's not hard to find. There's been a couple albums that have dropped recently that, since this is a harder podcast, we got to mention Earth Groans, one of the newest signees of Solid State Records. They just released an EP called Renovate. This is kind of their debut offering on Solid State Records. Hoping to get to talk to these guys at the Creation Festival next month. It's always fun to get to talk to newer bands, especially ones that, this is probably a band that's been around a couple of years, and it's always fun to see them finally make it onto a label like Tooth and Nail, which Solid State is a part of Tooth and Nail. So that'll be exciting. Gideon released Cold. Gideon is a band that's been around a while. They're also going to be at the Creation Festival, headlining, I believe, the Thursday night of the metal stage. So that's exciting for those that are into that. John Rubin, kind of a blast from the past, released one of his first albums in a long time called Rubonic. The reviews are a little mixed on this because John Rubin used some profanity on some tracks, and we don't get into the business of reviewing music in this podcast. We believe that the listener should go and listen to it and make their own conclusions. But I will say that I enjoyed the album despite the profanity, and I think John Rubin is a guy that was involved with Christian hip hop at a time that was probably just frustrating. We talked with KJ52 not too long ago on this podcast. You can check that out in the archives. Just how frustrating it was in that kind of early 2000s era, where there was to be honest, there was a ceiling to Christian hip hop, and you could only go so high. And that all changed with Lecrae, and of course, when he had his mainstream success, and Christian music industry finally decided after Lecrae had his mainstream success that they would accept Lecrae, which is really weird if you ask me, but that's just how it happened. There's definitely some frustrations that John Rubin probably had during that time. He's been involved in the music industry since his last release, but this is his first own musical release in a while, so go check that out if you were a John Rubin fan back in the day. It's definitely fun to listen to. Really, I think that's it. We would invite you to check out decentchristiantalk.com. It is our website where we post all our podcasts. You can even subscribe to there. If you go to the right-hand side of the page, there's 2 parts that you can check out. There's a subscribe part where you can put in your email address, and we will send you an email every time we post something, and that's something that we do completely free. There's also a donate button on the right-hand side of the page. If you could give us a couple bucks to help us cover some of our costs, we would greatly appreciate that. We also have an Instagram account called DC Talk Podcast. We have a Snapchat account called DCT Podcast. You're really going to want to follow us on those accounts as we head to the Creation Festival next month. That's going to be really fun to interact with some people that go, as well as post some fun concert pictures as well. We also have a Twitter account where it all started, DC Talk Act 2, and of course our Facebook page, Decent Christian Talk, where we interact with you guys. There's a page and there's also a discussion group. We would really like to thank Rival Choir and More of Ages for joining us once again. We'd like to thank Garrett Godfried, Dan Six, Judah Jones, Carly Jones, Josiah Jones, Nathaniel Jones, and Brendan Gallagher for helping us out on this show. And of course, you guys for listening every single week. We would not be here without you guys listening. We do it for you and we enjoy it. We just continue to hope that you continue to listen. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. Thanks.